If you are new here, welcome. This is the Founders Club, where we are talking to people who have founded brands, who have started something, and they are having some success with that. And we just want to pick their brains. We want to learn as much as we can from them. We want to get inspired by them. And we just want to download all of their information into us. Give a little background on me. Again, if you're new here, my name is Jeff Gerred. I'm your club president of the Founders Club. And I'm going to introduce you to amazing people. We will be here live. Catch the replays anytime. But if you want to be in the audience and you want to be commenting and part of the live show, that's what we really want this thing to be about. We want this to be a community where we're learning these things together. So if you don't know me, my name is Jeff, and I have been in the creative space for about 15 years. I've launched many businesses and many startups, and a lot of them in the creative industry. In that time running agencies, I get to meet all these cool people, these highly successful people. I thought, you know what? I'd love to do a show because I want everyone to meet some of these cool people that I've had a chance to work with. So I just started hitting up on my friends and said, hey, if I start a show, you want to come on? And everybody's, yeah, you should definitely do that. So here we are. We're definitely doing that, and we're doing it right now. The guy that we've got on the show today is a country music star, and his name is Trey Taylor. So if you missed last week's show, we talked to Trey Smith. So we're starting off with back-to-back Treys. But Trey Taylor is coming to Fort Worth, Texas, which is where the Founders Club is physically located. And he is going to put on a special kind of show, and I'll let him tell us more about that here in just a moment. But as you're coming in here, feel free to jump in the chat, and let's have a conversation with Trey. Hey, Trey. The crowd loves you, sir.
Hey, I love that. I love that. I like when a crowd likes me.
I couldn't agree more. I heard a guy one time speak, and everybody gave him a standing ovation because he was famous. And so he got up to speak, and the crowd's going crazy. And everybody finally, he's like, okay, sit down. Everybody sit down. And everybody sits down. He says, listen, the only thing I hate more than getting a standing ovation is not getting a standing ovation. So, it's always good to feel the love.
Yeah, I was down in Jacksonville, Florida a week ago doing a private event for the Bacardi family, Bacardi Rum,
Heard of
and
it?
we had about 4 or 5 standing ovations. And when I was coming off stage, my assistant said, Trey, they're standing out there. And I said, they going home? So,
Yeah, exactly. It's like Mr. Saturday Night. So you're doing stand-up comedy when the lights are shining on. You say, I know you're out there. I can hear you reloading.
I love
So,
that, man. And I'm so glad to be on here. I don't like that I'm following another Trey, especially somebody named Trey Smith, because in high school, I had a friend named Trey Smith who was a year ahead of me, and we're always competing for the same dates kind of
oh,
thing.
back and
So,
forth. Hey,
but
was he a musician?
no,
Oh, okay.
that's where I had the advantage a little
Oh,
bit.
okay,
But
okay. So our
he's
Trey
done
Smith
all
that we
right.
talked to, he plays in rock bands, and that's not what he does for a living, but
Really?
he just, as a hobby. So, yeah, we got the
That's
musical
great.
Treys. I know. We got to
I
find a
love
third
it.
one to round it out for next week. I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, so this is a nice segue because next week we are talking to Stacey McGovern, so I can announce that right now. So yeah, so tell the people,
Yeah.
obviously you do country music. We're going to talk a lot of country music today. If you're just joining us, this is the Founders Club Live. Our very special guest today is Trey Taylor. So Trey, you're coming to town, you're coming to Fort Worth, Texas, and tell us about what you're coming here for.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be coming to Fort Worth. And I just want to mention, since this podcast is new, I love all the graphics you got and all the setup you have. This is set to be quite the show.
Thank you, sir. A
Joe
special
Rogan,
shout
watch out, baby.
to Podvision IO. That's our production company. They make all this stuff. So they're
Good,
incredible.
good. They've done well. And I'm coming out to Dallas Fort Worth on December the 9th for my dear friends at Blue Family Fund. And I love everything that they're doing. Every January, it seems like one of the things that is a creative outlet for me is getting a chance to look at some movers and shakers across the country who are making big differences with their organizations. And one of the things I was looking for was we had started playing for some conglomerate organizations where I was wondering if the money we were raising was really making the sort of difference that it needed to. And I wanted to dive into a lot more grassroots work, particularly this year, and work that was personal to me. And I love Dallas Fort Worth. This is a secret, but I'll sneak out whenever I have a free week and not touring or not doing anything, and there's some great walking trails out there and all that, and I've just grown an affinity for that area. And I was looking around, and I'd heard of Blue Family Fund, and I started looking into the story, and particularly Stacy's story about how Stacy basically she has her business, she has her life, she has all this stuff going on, and she has poured her heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into supporting families of first responders and folks in law enforcement, especially after tragedy is stricken. And one of my favorite things, particularly about what they do, is they're so customized for what the family needs, whatever those needs may be. They're not just a single system organization. They really see what the problem is and try to solve it in those families. And I was just so very drawn to their energy and her great team. She's got some really cool people. And so I said, hey, if you think I can add something to what y'all are doing, I would love to give my time and come out and do a show and raise money for what you're doing. So I'm so very proud to be doing that.
You are the man. And I will add to this, to what you said there, because Stacy and Michael are absolutely amazing. They run a very successful business and they just want to give back. So they started Blue Family Fund out of the success of that. And we've got their website pulled up here. So they have a Blue Family Fund promise, which is every dollar that comes in goes to help the families of first responders. So a lot of times charities get a bad name because they raise a lot of money, but then they also have a lot of executives and a bunch of board members making a lot of that money, goes to them. And we're not here to smash on anybody that does it differently, but we are here to praise Stacy and the McGovern family because of the way that they do their thing. Is every dollar that comes in, they go straight back out to a special responder family. And all of the cost of putting the stuff on and paying for all the marketing, they pay for that out of their company. So the company pays for everything to make it go. And that way, every time Trey Taylor comes in town and does a concert, then all the money will go to those families. So it's super, super cool the way they run everything like that.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I knew that the money that I was raising this time wouldn't just be going to a big office copier paper budget for the month.
Exactly. Some executive's yacht.
Oh, exactly. And I've paid for a couple of them. So
Yes,
it's
sir.
like,
Yes, sir. So how did you find Blue Family Fun?
since I started my career, my God, when I was 16 years old, I'm 25 now. When I first got to Nashville and had my first conversation with Dolly Parton, she told me, do not just tithe and give your money. Tithe and give your time too, and find something that you can really devote yourself to. And Dolly, of course, her cause is children's literacy. And I really could never settle down on one cause because there were so many different facets of people I wanted to help. I love animals and homeless animal shelters and things like that. I wanted to serve them, but also we've got homeless veterans, so wanted to help them, and domestic violence and child sex trafficking and all those different things. I feel so passionate about so many different issues that I didn't want to basically settle on one. And the way I could rationalize it to make it fair was to find 5 to 10 local organizations every year that I could devote myself to, where the good work that I was doing in their space wouldn't be competing with other good work. For example, I have a partner out in Indiana, HVAF, which they handle veteran homelessness, that sort of thing. My work out in Dallas isn't going to compete with anything they're doing up there. So I started looking around, and at this point, I know a grassroots organization from not a grassroots one. And I'm not dogging the bigger ones at all. But in the range of money that I'm able to raise for folks, it really is about grassroots for me. And I really like to see, the work that I do have arms and legs and really see the movement of it. And like my grandfather said, money is like cow manure. You have to spread it around so young things can grow. I've always believed that. And getting a chance, we got to have a meeting with Stacy and her staff, and I was just astounded. And I said, whatever it takes for us to do this, we have to do this because the cause is so very important. And also, I want to take advantage of my young age. I know a lot of people start messing around in philanthropy and giving back when they're a little older and got a little bit more money wise to give, but it's not just about money. You can give your time, you can spread the word. It's time we use social media for good
Yes,
and all
sir.
our texting for good and all our ability to do that. That's one thing I was thinking about this morning, which because my iPhone just updated. I'm trying to figure out all the new stuff with it. And I thought, you know what? We're not using these things as well as we should. We could be using these things to set up gatherings and setting up even mini living room fundraiser kind of things. Really, the legacy that I want to have with this show and the other shows that I've done is really to encourage any artist of any stage of their career. I'm certainly not Elvis, but I can come out
Yet.
and do good in my own way. While I'm working on it with the wardrobe. But no, the really at any stage of your career you can make a difference and you can do something. And that was something that I learned very early on in Nashville and something that I wanted to project onto other artists more than anything. So I've been very proud of the work that we've done, but there's certainly a lot more work to do. And Blue
Always.
Family Fund is somebody, and Stacy is somebody that I want to be a goodwill ambassador for the rest of my life.
I love that. So the comment section saw I flashed up a photo there of you with Dolly. They want to know about Dolly. They're like, wait a minute, Dolly? Okay, so you just got like 1,300 legitimate points with the chat here. Tell us, how do you know Dolly? Someone said that Dolly discovered you. Is that true?
Dolly didn't discover me, but her producer did and introduced me to Dolly. Actually, Dolly's out discovering cures to illnesses and all that. I'm not quite a cure to an illness. But no, I was 16 years old and I was at that point very inspired going back to my childhood to become a country music singer. And I decided on my 16th birthday to have my mother drop me off at Walmart, and I was going to walk out of there with a job from Walmart and start saving my money and start paying for recording sessions and things. And so that's what I started to do. And as time went on, I saved enough to pay for my first one, and I recorded a song and put it out into the universe, self published it. And 2 months later, I heard from Dolly Parton's producer, Kent Wells, cold called me and said, "Do you want to be a country music singer?" And so I said, "Sure, I think so." And he had heard my music. I think a very angelic person sent it over and let him hear
Yes.
it. So basically, it was overnight for me. I went from a Walmart cashier to a Nashville recording artist in about 24 hours. And I was so glad that I had this humongous country music knowledge and vision of the business long before then, so that I was prepped for what was happening. But getting to meet Dolly, I first met Dolly at Red Rocks, and she let me bring my whole family backstage to meet her. And that was one of the coolest things. That picture was taken at Red Rocks,
This
actually.
is
Doesn't
okay.
that boy, yeah, doesn't that boy look happy?
He looks really happy. Yes. Yes.
So a couple months later, I was sneaking out of high school to go catch a plane to go hang out with Dolly again in Huntsville, Alabama, and all these different places. And so, really, it was amazing how things happened that quick for me. But being around Dolly, I just, all I can say is, and among the other legends I've got to be around, I see why they're legends and why they're so important in the business is because she's really the most genuine person you'd ever meet in show business. It's amazing. I went from meeting her on a Wednesday to meeting some very current artists in country music who did not treat their fans the same way. And it really gave me an education on how to have longevity in music, particularly country music.
I agree, and I think no one is more beloved. I'd be hard pressed to find someone more beloved in our culture than Dolly. People just they love her. She's just because what she's about, like you described earlier, the way she gives back, and just her community there in Tennessee. And when things go squirrely, she's there to step in, and she's just amazing. My daughter is 13. And Dolly is her favorite music artist. Taylor Swift, it's up there too. She's a big Taylor Swift fan, of course. I think all 13-year-old girls are at this time. But she just loves Dolly, and she has Dolly books. And actually, this summer we went to Dolly World. Is it called Dolly World? I'm messing it up here. Dolly World in Tennessee.
Dollywood.
Dollywood.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I knew it didn't sound right. Yeah, Dollywood.
Hollywood with a D.
That's it. That's it. Yes, sir. But yes, we went to Dollywood, and it was a whole thing, and so it was super fun. So we love her. Okay, I'm glad that you said that about country music because we do have a few questions for you here. We're gonna put you in the hot seat. So when it comes to,
Oh,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here we go. I like to ask this question to everybody because what I discovered working with different people from different industries is when I start working with them, I'm always surprised to learn something about their world. So, in the world of country music, what would people be surprised to know about the music biz?
oh, here's one. You asked. Do you know that it costs between 200 to $400,000 to get a song to radio now?
Really? Okay, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, that is one of the things happening in the business. I think the fans think it's like it back in the old days where the fans chose what the hits were by radio play and by record sales and all that. We've seen examples. It's funny, you remember that Oliver Anthony Richmond song, that big hit last year or
Yeah, the
last month
TikTok
that he
thing.
had? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the Richmond, north of Richmond. That song was #1 Billboard, but it was not being played on country radio because he had not paid for it to be played on
Ah, it's
country
it's
radio.
it's pay to play.
Yeah. Pay to
Wow.
play, and it's certainly reflecting in the business, I'd say. My philosophy is music should be a democracy of what the fans want. When it's $300,000, you think about it, people like Dolly Parton, people like Johnny Cash or Willie, they would have never become country music singers because they showed up to Nashville with paper bags full of songs in their clothes, and that's how it started for them.
I love that the internet is a great equalizer on that. In the day, what you described is like the gatekeepers. You got to get past these producers or the powers that be to get that radio play. But now, like you were saying, the rich man north of Richmond, he just puts it out on social media, and the next thing you know, boom, you really have a true overnight sensation. Like what you're saying, democratizing entertainment in that way, and just okay, get the people who want $200,000 to play your song on the radio, we just go around them and just self-publish. So that's nice.
And I was talking to my manager the other day, and I was saying I would rather, if we're going to invest, I think the space to invest in may not be radio because I don't know too many people who consume music with radio when they have 1,000% controlled listening elsewhere. So I said I would rather focus on marketing to get playlisted on the
Yep.
country music playlist because that's where you're real. That's what radio's purpose is served before. Now, I just want to say, especially before I go home to Nashville, I'm not dogging radio. I love y'all.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
right. That's
love
right.
everything you do, but
Yeah.
I will say that it is definitely a game changer on who has opportunities to pursue their dream or not. And then another thing that I think would surprise people is really the overall amount of work that it takes. It isn't just singing. You in finding a great team, assembling a staff of people who know what they're doing and who know you well enough. That's the other thing is you can't do cookie cutter anymore. If you're going to break through, you have to have people who not only understand the business fluently, but understand you and your goals fluently. Because a lot of times you can just bend into the wrong areas. So they really have to understand you now. The point you had made about YouTube and Spotify being the great equalizer, it absolutely is. And I think that it will ultimately inspire a lot more people to get into music who maybe thought, heck, I don't have 300 grand to put to radio. I'm not even going to pursue it. Now they can, and I'm grateful for that.
Yes, sir. Couldn't agree more. Okay, so let me ask you this. That's some great insight about country music, and just it's also I think feel like encouraging to people, like you're saying. I left my 300,000 in my other pocket, so I'm fresh out. But it's nice to know that, like I say, with the internet, you can just make things happen. Okay, so let me ask you this. It's the Trey Taylor story. Okay, so I go into Universal Pictures and I say, man, this Trey Taylor has become a music legend. Maybe this is 20 years from now. This is down the road. And they say, okay, that's great. Let's make the Trey Taylor movie, music biopic. So the question is, who would you cast to play Trey Taylor in the Trey Taylor movie?
Oh Lord, 25. I don't know anybody younger than me who could play, but if I couldn't play it, I'd say, I don't know. Do you think I've got that Michael B. Jordan smile thing going
Ooh,
on?
okay, you going? How you going?
Maybe him or Jason Derulo or somebody. I don't know, but I don't know. I think the movie would be very interesting. What could they call it? See, 50 Shades of Trey.
Wow, strong with
Anyway.
the puns.
Sorry.
N-
But anyway, no,
Okay,
I've used that one before. You know what? Maybe my funny answer would be Leonardo DiCaprio. Hey, look at him. Doesn't he
I kind of see it a little bit.
a little bit,
I
a
can
little
see it.
bit? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How about without the glasses?
Without the
Does that give
glasses.
you a better? Yeah,
No, maybe
maybe a
more
little
with the
bit.
glasses. With the glasses. There,
Okay.
yeah, we're getting
We'll
closer.
get him a good pair. We'll get him a good pair of glasses before he starts.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir. Okay,
yeah.
all right, right on. Okay, so let's go with the Michael B. Jordan. I think that's good. All right, so we told you about the name drops. We've already talked Dolly. Okay, so you don't get much bigger than that. But okay, country music stars. Who's the biggest name in your phone?
Oh, that's now okay. There's categories.
Oh,
Do we
yes, there
want
are. Always.
now, is it office of person? Is it assistant of person, or is it person? Which
Okay.
one do you want?
Okay, so here's the two categories. The two categories are okay, whatever one you choose, but then also what's the biggest name of someone that if you called them, they would actually answer. So that's the person one.
Okay. I would say who most legendary person on my phone in country music who I text with personally would be the legendary Larry Gatlin, the Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin brothers from Texas.
Okay.
Huge star in the Hall of Fame, everything. But who, if I called, would answer? A famous person? Oh, anybody that I owed money to who's famous, they'd answer my call. Yeah, I wish I could say Dolly, but Dolly doesn't have a cell phone. Nobody can call her.
See, that's how you have true legendary status. You're like, I don't even
Oh,
mess with that.
exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
all right. So talking country music stars, here we go. It's time to
Oh,
do.
wait, 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 wait,
Wait,
wait, wait.
wait.
The manager who was very famous for overseeing that conservatorship over Britney, basically who the Free Britney
Yeah.
manager was. Yeah, she's in my phone.
Oh, she's okay. Okay. So I don't. Now,
Yeah.
how is that going? Because I feel like we were all there to free Britney, but now she's playing with knives, and I don't know. Was that a good choice?
Should we maybe should have loosened the leash on
Y-
Brittany? I don't know about a full free. I don't know
right.
about a full free,
Yeah.
but I think it's like this. I think the struggle is with because I see the same thing with like reading a book on Michael Jackson and these stars who've been treated like products since they're 6 years old. They just have no semblance of what life and reality is, and I think they should almost have to I don't know, attend public school or
Yeah,
something.
no, it's impossible to just be totally normal if you're one of those people. I don't know how they, every once in a while, someone turns out they're just like normal and they're the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, yeah. So I bring her up because they were chastising her for some of the restrictions she put, but Brittany wasn't playing with knives during that time. So,
Right. Yeah. Or at least we didn't know about it. All right. Okay. So turning the page. If you're new with us and just joining us, this is the Founders Club Live. My name is Jeff Gerred, where we talk to people who have founded brands. And the brand man that we are talking to today is Trey Taylor, country music star. And now we're about to put him further onto the hot seat because we're going to play a little tournament here. Okay. And you're the tournament
contestant.
contestant. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, sir. I don't know how to talk good. Here we go. Okay, this is country music legends. Let's zoom in here. Let's take a look at what we've got.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Here we go. Country music legends. Okay, here we go with Trey Taylor. Let's take a look here at what we got. Let's just jump right into it. So in our first bracket here, as we zoom
are you
in.
trying to get me? Are you trying to get me canceled in this
Not
business
yet. Not
forever?
yet. No, there's no wrong choices. They're all good choices. Here we Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah, but you are going to play favorites, okay?
Oh,
So
okay. All
so
right.
here we go. This guy and
Yes,
this
I do.
guy, okay?
Strait
George
moves.
Strait, no questions about it.
No
So you go
question.
right
No
here.
question.
Tim McGraw. My wife's going to be really sad. Tim McGraw's her favorite. If Tim McGraw was an option, I'd be out on the street. I can tell you that. Okay, so we're moving
Yeah.
George Strait up. Okay, so I think I know where we're going with this one. Okay, but here we've got Dolly, the legend, taking on Merle Haggard.
Oh no. Oh no. How dare you? You
Uh
can't do that. You can't do that.
oh.
They were supposed to win it all.
Oh,
They were
this was
supposed
the
to win it
championship.
all.
This was the
Oh
oh
man.
no
Oh no.
in the
Okay.
first
Okay.
round.
Can we we're coming back to them
Okay,
because I
coming.
gotta
Oh,
figure
okay.
out. Yeah,
Okay, you
yeah.
need some
We gotta
time
come
to
back.
make peace
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
decision. Okay, okay. So
Every other one will be easier, I promise.
okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, because now we have Garth Brooks versus Loretta Lynn. The coal miner's daughter moves on, and Garth Brooks is out. Look at that. Oh, that was no hesitation. Okay. So we got the Man in Black, Johnny Cash versus Reba.
Oh, let's go, Johnny Cash. I love you, Reba. I love you, but
Johnny's going on. Okay, we're going to come back to that other first round one, but let's go over to the other side of the bracket. And here we've got Waylon
and Randy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I got to meet Randy, and he's the nicest guy in the world. So I'm going to go with Randy.
Okay, all right. Cashing in the nice chips. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll leave this behind. Okay, so we come over here. We got Toby Keith versus Brad Paisley. A couple of funny men. A couple of guys who'll write a funny comedy song on you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Brad Paisley because I'm a guitar guy and he's a guitar master.
A heck of a guitar player. So.
Love you, Toby. Be well. Get well soon, Toby Keith.
Yeah, if I can nerd out, I don't know if the viewers care to know this, but if I can nerd out a little bit on guitars, I play a little guitar myself, nothing super fancy, but I saw a special and I had Brad Paisley and he has a customized guitar to where as his guitar strap comes around his neck, as it connects to the top of the guitar, it actually connects. Oh no, we've lost Trey. Hold on with us here as he hopefully dials back in. I think we lost a connection. But I'll tell the audience. So if you don't know, as a guitar comes around, it's got a strap on it, right? And it holds on to two parts of the guitar. Brad Paisley has a custom contraption that allows his guitar strap to connect to a specific string on his guitar. So when he's playing the guitar and he does like this kind of motion, he can pull the... Here we go. Trey's dialing back in. Here we go.
Okay, I'm back.
He's back. No worries. I've got you. You're back. I was just talking about Brad Paisley's guitar, how one of his guitars has a special place where his strap actually connects to the guitar. It actually bends one of the strings. So if he pushes his guitar like away from him, that tension will actually bend an additional string so that he can get sounds that no one else can get by just pushing his guitar away from him. So I don't know if anyone cares about that besides me and you.
Yeah, no, I do. I didn't know that I'm a guitar guy. That's
next
incredible.
Level. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so here's our classic division right here. You ready for this?
Okay. Oh,
yes,
no.
Sir.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. You know what? This was the best. I wish it was set up so much worse than this. I wish you didn't know your country music because then this would have been so easy. Every choice is hard. I will go with Hank Williams.
Patsy Cline Left Behind.
I love
Hank
you,
Williams
Patsy.
advances. She'll be blue now that she has been eliminated. All right, I don't know. All right, here we go. Willie Nelson now, Texas own. Now this is what Texas crowd you're talking to here versus Shania. Willie, okay, no doubt about it. Okay, good. Playing to the Texas home crowd.
He's brought a lot of tax revenue into my home state of Colorado.
Okay, all right, good on him. Okay, so now what we got to do, we got to go back over here. There's one question that hasn't been answered, and it's right here. A lot of pressure.
This is... Okay, we have to qualify. Is this favorite?
This is you. This is the Trey Taylor making the calls here. Tell us what are you thinking?
For the sake of making this game, because Dolly would just win it all if I was going to be loyal to just who I've met. But I'm gonna move Merle up. We've already talked about Dolly. We're going to move Merle up.
Controversial. Wow, look at that.
You have to move that X. You can't put an X over Dolly.
We'll put it here. Okay, we'll put it right on her heart where you just ripped her heart out. And just, golly, this guy over here. Okay, all right, so then where does that leave us? So now we've got George Strait versus Merle. What are we doing here?
Merle's advancing.
Wow, look at this. I didn't see this one coming. Okay, Loretta Lynn and Johnny Cash.
Loretta's going to advance.
Okay. We're making the quick decisions now. Okay, here we go. Here's a tough one.
Oh, forever and ever, amen's gonna keep on going.
Ooh,
Okay,
okay. Okay. Brad
okay.
Paisley. I do
And
love
I
Brad
think
Paisley.
Brad would want it this way.
When I'm
So,
riding with the family and the Get a Little Mud on the Tires comes on, that's a sing along. That's the whole
oh yeah.
car. We're all going, everybody. But he's history. Okay, and then the final of the round of 8. Who are we going with here? Is Poncho getting left behind? Or
Is Pancho getting left behind? Man, you know what? Pancho's gonna get to move forward.
okay. All right, I'm bringing the pun game. My dad joke. We don't play when it comes to dad jokes. Okay, so here we
Man.
go. This is the final 4. This is what it looks like. We got Randy Travis facing off against Texas legend Willie Nelson.
Oh.
We got Merle Haggard, and this is all legends.
These are
Loretta
all
Lynn.
legends, and you know what? We've got it now. It's actually against Pancho and Lefty now.
That's right.
We're
That's
actually
right.
against them.
Here we
Okay,
go.
let's see. So do we choose? So do I choose a winner between Willie or Merle, and then Loretta or Randy? Is that how, or how? Which,
Uh,
or is it? Is oh, it's Randy
yeah,
versus
right side,
Willie.
left,
Okay,
right side,
okay,
left side. Here we
okay.
go.
All right, all
Okay,
right.
yes. So now the chat is saying Loretta in this round. We're getting some votes for
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Merle's got to move up.
Merle's
And
moving
then
up.
and then Randy's not gonna move up. And no, Willie
Ooh,
Nelson's gonna move up. Willie's gonna
okay.
move up.
That is quite the
Oh,
championship right there, though. That is a nice
oh,
championship. I got full respect. There's no wrong answer here.
ah.
These are the legends of all legends, the full classics. But who goes home with the title? What are you
I get
thinking?
to do a little speech. I get to do a little
Tell me. We
speech
want to
about each
know.
one and then
Yes.
why. Okay.
Come on.
So Merle Haggard. Oh man, this is because they're both incredible guitar players. They're both incredible songwriters. They both have at least 70 albums out.
You
I
got
would have
what's Willie's guitar called? It's got Trigger. That's right. It's that
Trigger.
same. It's barely holding together. I think a stiff
Yeah.
breeze would just send it out into the wind.
You know what? This is the most difficult decision I've ever made. Okay, so Merle. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this because Merle actually went to prison and served time in San Quentin Penitentiary at age 17, where he escaped 11 times, and so much they had to put him in the death row chamber to get him to quit escaping, and they still don't know how he escaped. Merle Haggard's going to move to
You,
number one
Merle
as the
Haggard moves to
yes,
number 1.
sir.
Now,
Yeah.
you did not let the chat bully you because the chat is staunchly in Willie's side.
Willie.
But yes,
Yeah.
but we'll put. He's already got the shades on.
Hey, chat. Go listen to Mama Tried. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then come chat us back.
I'm
Oh,
partial to
man.
7 Spanish Angels. Yeah, Ray and Willie together. I love that song. That's just one of my favorites.
Jeff, who would have won this whole thing
For
you?
me,
Who would have? Yeah.
I would pick Dolly because she is my favorite. I just love
how
her.
dare you? You're
No,
going to get me in so much trouble. You picked the dolly.
Well,
Of course
now-
you picked the dolly.
Now listen, but the other thing is honestly just selfishly because if I didn't, I would be in trouble with my daughter. And any
Right.
dad of a 13-year-old daughter, you just got to it's a business
I
decision
understand.
at that point. You know what I'm saying?
And let me qualify that this is the most difficult country music challenge I've ever had to do in my life. And I used to vote on the Country Music Hall of Fame every year.
And this
Yeah,
is more
yeah.
difficult than that. And see, as this is
Oh,
public,
1,000 times.
yeah, your vote, you get to make it home. You get to send that in, secret ballot. But this, you are here for everyone to see. And look at that. That's the who's who right there.
Do you want a fun fact about how you did that? And not too many people know this.
Tell
And
me.
So I'm gonna, for all the chatters, they're gonna get some good. See, if there's gonna be a question, what does the public not know about country music? Merle Haggard had a secret, lifelong crush for Dolly Parton. He was madly in love with her. Madly in love with her. And one of his number one songs was, in fact, confirmed to be written about Dolly. And the story is that he was so bold, he called Dolly's household home while she was in bed with her husband asleep and played the song over the phone and begged her to leave her husband for him. That is
Wow.
a true story. And I'll
That's
tell you what, Dolly played it so cool. Dolly was just, when she's asked about it, she said, I was so flattered by that. He's one of the greatest songwriters in the world. I love him like a brother.
She is the queen of playing it cool. She gets the questions and she just flies above the fray with every answer. She's so classy. She's so self-deprecating. I always see this come up on TikTok or whatever, and it's an interview with her. And Barbara Walters is just asking these questions and just like little snipes and stuff.
Why?
She
Why do you wear the wigs? Why do you dress so crazy?
Oh,
How
yeah.
do you expect to be taken seriously?
Yes, and
all
she
that,
floats
yeah.
above all that. And she just, oh, you know what? And just without even a wink or anything. That's why she's the best.
Jeff, you're the best, and I can say without a doubt, this is the best podcast I've ever done in my entire career. On film, I said that, and this was the funnest game I've ever played.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very
Okay.
good, man.
All right. That's some goofing around. Now we're going to turn it to some serious business in a segment we call Serious Business. Okay, so this is serious business, and I've got 5 questions for you here. And so obviously we know music is a lot of fun. People want to get in the game because they have a passion for it, and hope they're good at it. Hopefully, assuming they're going to make it, they're going to have to be good at it. They have to be able to carry a tune and have a little something to say with their music. Been in, you say, about 10 years now, is that right?
Yeah.
How do you get started in the music biz? Someone's watching this or say, hey, here's a guy who's doing things. What do I need to know? Tell them straight. What do they need to do to get started?
The first thing you have to do, and you hear it as a cliche, but it is very serious, you get in front of as many people as you want to. Because growing up in the Hannah Montana age that I did, every little kid wanted to start a music career, whether they were meant to, supposed to, had enough talent to, or even enough image and drive to. And so going through and doing I always say do 100 free shows before, and I mean it. You go do 100 free shows and get in front of 100 audiences. And then guess what? When you get tired of carrying those amplifiers by time number 75, well, maybe you weren't supposed to be in music. But and the other thing is to, and this is absent from a lot of folks in my business now, but just as Jeff and I were, see, some of my peers in country music couldn't play that game because they wouldn't know who half those people were. So you have to know the art form that you're going to be a part of. I'll tell you what, that got me my deal as quick as anything when I was asking Dolly's producer, hey, did you play on that session in 19 that Ricky Skaggs did for Dolly's White Limousine album that had Yellow Roses on it and that had 3 number 1 hits and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That's when people know you're serious. So know the business, get experience in it. And another thing is you lock yourself in a room for hours a day, no matter what your lifestyle is. No matter if you're going to do this, you got to do it. And also another piece of advice, you cannot have a plan B. I'm sorry to say that because it's not the responsible, practical thing, but neither is getting in this business in the first place. Coming up in Nashville, I could see the parting of the Red Sea between the artists who are going to continue this as a career and the ones who are going to record one album and disappear based on if they told me, oh yeah, and I'm in law school right now too, and I'm working here and doing this. No, because there are people, you're competing with a whole lot of all-inners.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to do. So those would be my other things. And then also, don't expect to make money out of this business until really you have a ground product, something and you have to get your website going, your social media thing, and you say yes to everything. Not everything in music, but performance opportunities. No, I have to be very clarifying with that. But any opportunity to get yourself in front of people, to take that. And also, from the very beginning of your career, take an interest in community things, just like what I'm doing with Blue Family Fund. Find some local things that you can tie into and volunteer your time and help be a part of something. And you'll be surprised with who you network with or who appreciated your performance enough to help you along somehow.
Yeah, I find that if you're going to start from nowhere and try to make something, pride is not your friend.
No, and one of the misconceptions people have about me is, even though I dress this way, I have no pride, no ego, no nothing. I really am about, the fans are my employers. you work for them every night, and you never get that twisted.
100%. Okay, so let me ask you this. If you were starting today, so you're a decade in the game, if you were starting today, this is a two-part question. What would you do different and what would you do the same?
I would keep my style of clothing the same. I'd keep my image the same. I'd keep my guitars and music choice the same. Along every music career, no matter what level, and people like Dolly and Merle and Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, they all still deal with this, is hiring the wrong people and hiring people based off of what they tell you versus what they can do. Now I have a rule that anytime I hire a publicist or anytime I hire a radio promoter, we agree on what will be done minimum before a retainer is done. You do not let somebody promise you nothing. You sit down and you articulate 5 or 6 goals, and you don't shoot for the moon. You don't say to win a Grammy. You don't, but maybe I hit 4 or 5 major publications, or there's a nice spread about me in Music Row magazine kind of thing. You start and put some benchmarks and make sure those benchmarks matter, because 30 seconds of being on an advertising jumbotron in Nashville is not going to move your career. So don't just take the superficial stuff that they try to throw at you.
No,
Do
it's,
your homework, find out what actually makes results.
yeah, that's good. I actually, so that leads right into my one of my other next questions is because I've worked in business, I've had good business partners and not as good business partners. So it's always finding the right people is huge. So the next question is talk about the importance of finding the right people and how do you do that? You've covered that a little bit, but tell us more about working with the right team.
You need to see a resume.
Okay.
You need to see what I ask is a lot of times one of the things that has hurt me, I'll be frank, if something's ever hurt me, a lot of times it's I've been so attached to country music legends so many times that they'll try to market me through a lot of the older country music audiences, which is great and nice, but you have to be involved in your era and the things that you've got going on. And so you have to make that adjustment very quickly. And another thing is so when you're asking somebody, if you're a new artist and you want them to make you a star, find out how many stars they've made. Because if they think in theory that they could help you, if you think that in theory they could make something happen for you, that is not a guarantee unless
Yes.
they've done it before. And
Talk is cheap.
you can't risk being their first time. I'll put it that way.
I think talk is cheap, and especially I imagine in showbiz, it's got to be even more people that say they can do this and that. Where's the skins on the wall?
Talk is not only cheap in music, it's worthless.
You heard it here. Okay, so I got one more for you here, which is give us a recommendation. It can be it could be a book, a movie, an app, just a music artist we should be listening to. What do you recommend that the audience checks out?
For if you're trying to be an artist, one of the biggest things you need to learn is communication, how to communicate your vision, your brand, your story, your career. And I hate to loop this right back into Dolly, but Dolly is without a doubt the greatest brand. There was no such thing as brand in music before Dolly Parton. She built that theme park 40 years ago, before there were endorsement deals and brand deals. There's a book on her called Dolly on Dolly, and what it does is it takes her articles all the way from when she was 18 years old talking to the high school newspaper to Rolling Stone magazine at 70. And what they did is they dissected all of her language skills that she's had over the years and how she's had this ability to control every interview she does, no matter what she's in. And it's funny, you had mentioned that Barbara Walters interview. That's iconic now because of how she took that professional interviewer, one of the greatest in the world, and put her around, her finger. I would say that without a doubt, that's the way to do it. 1,000%.
I want to know if this is young Dolly, what did Jolene look like?
Yeah, exactly. I
Uh,
don't. Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
I don't know, but
Now,
yeah,
yeah, I'd
yeah.
like to see Joe.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Wow. Okay, man. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, we got to plug one more time the show that you've got coming in Fort Worth for the Blue Family Fund. Let's plug that one more time. Tell the people about that one.
I just have to tell people this is also going to be a very special performance that I'm going to be doing for Blue Family Fun, specifically because I've created an entire show around them. And really, every song, I actually have sifted through hundreds of songs to create and weave their messaging between every song because I love what they're doing. And it is going to be such a fun night. And I'll tell you what, there's very few show performances that I do that I think, oh, this will be something I remember for the rest of my entire life. And this will be one of those nights. This is a one night only experience. And I'm certainly going to work my tail off to make sure everybody has a good time and make it about all the great folks who are part of Blue Family Fund. And I'm just so honored and humbled that I could be of some help and that I get a chance to do this. So please come out. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then come backstage after and take a picture and say howdy with me. I want to meet everybody. And this is such good work that they're doing. We can't ignore it. So just honored to be a part of it. And thank you, Jeff. I have to tell you, a lot of times I dread podcasts.
I can imagine.
This a absolutely incredible experience. And I can tell you, if this is episode 2 that's going in, whoo, Patrick, Bet, David,
We're coming for Rogan. No, we like to stay humble, but I appreciate you saying that. We just got someone in the chat. I want to hit this in here real quick. So in the chat, they said, Michael in chat said, where do you see your career in 5 years? Listening to your music, I can see great things happening.
In 5 years. So, Michael, what I'm going to be doing is starting next year, I'm going to be releasing 2 albums a year. And my spring album is going to be focused towards commercial country music, radio friendly music that's very mainstream. And then my fall album is going to be whatever I want it to be. So it could be one year a Christmas album, gospel album, a bluegrass album, basically a lot of the things that commercial record company may not let me get away with. I'll get to express myself artistic wise that way. But I certainly want to keep doing what I'm doing with all the traveling. I do about 90 cities a year, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have places to go sing and that sort of thing. So I just want to continue to do that. But the biggest thing is I hope I can continue to do the work that I'm doing like with Blue Family Fund. I would be just so thrilled. Look at that kid.
Hey, there he is.
I'm just honored to be a part of it. And hopefully in the next 5 years, I'll get a better dress sense.
No, don't change a thing. You did say a word that had me perk up there, which is gospel album. So you're in my wheelhouse a little bit there. I play in the band at my church, and I have since I was a kid, and I'm all about that kind of music. So that happens. I want to hear it.
What I'll need from you is you'll have to send me your favorite hymn. And see, I love those old hymns. Those are some
That's
of
how I
my
grew
favorite,
up.
like the "I'll Fly Away" and "In the Gardens" and all that.
Don't even don't get me started because we're gonna break out a concert right now.
We'll do a Sunday
Woo!
podcast.
Yeah, that's right. It's Sunday morning podcast. Hey, those old school hymns are what I grew up on, and honestly, I love the new stuff. But man, you hear those old songs? They're in there.
Jeff, when you hear somebody, especially when they can really sing, start, "Then sings my soul." When you start hearing "How Great Thou Art," something just happens to you. And
Yes, sir.
gospel music was my very first love. That's
Okay.
first love. And
Yes.
so I wanted to do it, especially while I have all my grandmothers alive and well and want to do that. And I can't wait to. And that's one of the things about country music is country and gospel are so hand in hand.
Yeah. You
And
mentioned Elvis earlier, and he has great gospel albums. The Elvis gospel albums, we used to spin those at the house when I was a kid, and that was my first exposure to Elvis, actually, was the gospel albums.
you know that the only Grammys Elvis ever won were in gospel music.
Really?
Yeah. And
wow,
it was
there's
his
a fun fact.
his favorite of all time. And
Wow.
And I sang gospel music as good or better than he sang anything.
Wow, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. Where do people need to go to follow along with your career and what you've got going?
Trey Taylor Music is my website. And in terms of my social medias, we are actually burning down the social medias and rebuilding them next year. I hired some bad social media guys that got me all these bots and all this stuff. I don't want none of that.
Shoot.
So we're going to have a brand new YouTube channel that's going to feature a weekly blog about my traveling through 90 cities, and I'm going to take you everywhere with me. It's going to be something really cool, and it's going to be something authentic too. Hopefully, it could be 10% as professional as the Founders Clubs. And I hope in 5 years, I hope I'm back here on the Founders Club.
Episode 100 or something, whatever the math equals up to. And I really appreciate all the love. And I'm in the same position here because we're starting this from nothing and we're starting from zero. We're going to build it up. And like you had mentioned earlier, if you're not committed to just do it no matter what, you can't talk about it. You got to be about it. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to show up every Tuesday at noon and talk to folks and just put in the work.
I believe it. And thank you so very much, Jeff. This was truly an honor. And that game was way too much fun.
Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you here on December 9th. Go to bluefamilyfund.org to grab tickets. It's going to be a good one. Trey, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
God bless you, Jeff. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We're wrapping it up here, but we do have a giveaway courtesy of the Blue Family Fund and Stacy. She messaged me just earlier this morning and was so excited that we were going to be talking to Trey. And if you're in the North Texas area and you want to see the show, we have a giveaway for you. So we're going to give away 2 tickets. So it's just a 2-step process. So you go to this video, you tag 5 friends, you let them know about the Founders Club. We're going to grow the club here. Step number 2 is you go to Blue Family Fund and find them on Facebook as well, just Blue Family Fund, and give them a follow. We want those folks to get all the love in the world because they are just doing God's work. They are amazing, and they are just a huge blessing to the whole first responder community. So let's show them the love. So do the sharing, do the liking, do the following, and you can win yourself 2 tickets to the Trey Taylor Show right here in Fort Worth, Texas. If you are new with us, thank you so much because it just means the world for you guys to come in and be part of the show. We want to grow this thing organically. We are willing to put in the work and just keep showing up and keep introducing you guys to amazing people that are doing amazing things in business and in our communities across the country. My name is Jeff, and for all of the team here at Podvision.io putting this show on, thank you guys so much. We will talk to you again next Tuesday at noon.